Hello, good morning, viewer. Thank you for coming back to my channel, Hocantalk. Today in this video will be a little bit different from the rest of the video that I produced in the past. Because last time when I used a marker and paper, I actually used handwritten one. So today, this video, I've done some improvement. Instead of handwritten, I actually use computer to print out all the slides. And I've translated even the slides into both English and Chinese. So likewise, all my video will be presented in English and Chinese. So if you all want to listen to the Chinese version, I will also upload onto the YouTube platform. For local audience viewers, if you are watching Bilibili in China, then you will only see the Chinese version. But if you need the English version, do let me know. I'm very happy to upload the English version as well. So without further ado, today I'm going to talk about a very interesting topic. This topic is called the global fertilizer market. And of course, likewise for all my videos, I'm going to focus the business and finance aspect of the global fertilizer market. But of course, in order to make the video more interesting, I will also highlight to you some of the historical aspect of the fertilizer market. Now, so let's zoom in onto the first slide. Now, the first slide, I'm going to start my presentation regarding the wars and conflicts due to fertilizer. Yes, people fight over fertilizer, and fertilizer itself has caused a lot of wars in the human history. So let's look at some interesting fact before we talk about the business and financial aspect of the fertilizer market. If you look back all the way to 1864, now there was already the first war called the Chincha Island War. So this war again is all these are mainly in the Latin America side. So I won't go through in detail because if not, this video will be very long. But from the wording down here, you can see that I actually print out nicely so you can actually look at the slide. So people fought over guano, the bird shitting, because at that time nobody know how to make a fertilizer yet, so they can only take natural fertilizer from the shitting from the bird. So because that island has a lot of this kind of bird shit, just like remember Singapore used to have an island called the Christmas Island, but now no longer belong to Singapore, but I think it's belong to Australia. Now, and because of the bird shit on this island, so some of the country like Peru actually own this thing, but the Spain Empire people also wanted to occupy all this guano. So they actually come over and try to invade the island. So that war happened, and then what happened? Chile and Bolivia, Peru, all these countries joined up, and then they fought off the Spanish. So you see, early, so many years ago, human beings already give up their life for fertilizer, just because fertilizer is able to produce the crops that they plant and improve the yield so that they have enough food to eat. Now, if you look at other wars, like they also have War of the Pacific called the Saltpeter or the 10-cent War. Again, I won't go through in detail, but one thing very unique and interesting is that at that time, Bolivia and Peru, they are working together to mine some sodium nitrate and all these things. So and at that time, saltpeter can be used for fertilizer and also can be used for gunpowder. So at that time, the Bolivia actually wanted to increase the taxes. Quite familiar, right? So like USA trying to slap all the tariff and all these things. So Bolivia wanted the Peru company to the Chilean company to pay, not Peru, Chile company to pay for more mining tax. So the Chile not happy, so they all fought over, and Peru and Bolivia actually fought with Chile, but Chile won the war. So if you look at Bolivia today, it's a landlocked country because all the coastal area was lost to Peru, or lost to Chile, during that war. So you can see that fertilizer actually has created quite a number of wars in wars in the human history. Now, if you look at the but I think this war is going to be very interesting. I have to mention this. During World War One, it's not really because of war, because of fertilizer created the war, but because of World War One, British wanted to cut away the fertilizer import from Chile to Germany, because World War One, Germany is fighting against some European country. So they actually blocked all the fertilizer, and this resulted in Germany not able to produce enough food for their soldier. So during that time, because of the blockage, two chemists in Germany actually invented a very important chemical process. It's called the Haber-Bosch process, to actually get nitrogen or get hydrogen from air, and then combining hydrogen and nitrogen to form the ammonia. So again, I won't go deeper into the technical process of how fertilizer are being produced. So you just remember that, wow, there are so many wars happen among humans because of fertilizer. So you see, they fight over bird shit. They also fight over the saltpeter. And they also, because of the blockage, it forced two of the most brilliant chemists in the world to come up with a process called the Haber-Bosch process to manufacture ammonia. So again, if you look at, even there are other smaller one, like the why Morocco become the largest, one of the largest phosphate rock producer in the world because of the war, and they took over the desert. And also you can see that there's an island which is near to Australia, also because of the resources that can be used to produce fertilizer. So I hope all this overview let you know that fertilizer is a very important mineral, very important ingredients to produce food, and it has led to many wars in the past. So people, human beings, fight among each other, kill each other just because they want the fertilizer. Now let's look at how big is the fertilizer market. And now I produced this slide again. I won't go through all the wording, if not you'll fall asleep left and right. So you can see that from 2016, the market size of global fertilizer is about 162 billion. 2016, but fast forward, the forecast for 2026, they will go up to 225 billion. So there is steady increase in the demand for fertilizer because of the growing population. Now let's fast forward. Fertilizer, they are to make fertilizer, you have to combine a few minerals together, because each of the mineral provides certain benefit to the plant. So the three things that combine together to become fertilizer is nitrogen, phosphate, and potash. So these are the three. So we call this NPK. So going forward in this video, I will not read out the actual name. I'll just say NPK. So NPK is the three important component to make up for a basic fertilizer that is used across the board for all kind of plants or all kind of crops. So if you look at the 2026 projection just now in the previous slide, which is about 225 billion, I break them down into these three components, because in the whole world, some country is only producing one of the component, some produce all the three, and some companies specialize only in producing one of the component. But overall, I break them down. You can see that nitrogen is about 56%, and phosphate is about 24%, potash is about 20%. So you can see that this is a breakdown of the composite of the NPK in a fertilizer. So who are the largest fertilizer producing country in the world? So if you look at 2025, the rank number one is China. They actually produce about 55 million tons per year. And you can see USA follow closely behind, 53 million tons, and followed by India. So, but there are some country here, you can see that rank number 4 is Russia, which has faced a lot of tariff and sanction since the Ukraine war. So all these countries, these are the top 10 countries, and these are the fertilizer, the component of the fertilizer that they are strong in. You see, some are produce all the three components, some only focus on certain component. Now, who are the country in the world that use a lot of fertilizer? So that one, not surprising, it has to be those country that do a lot of plantation. So again, China, they plant a lot, and the key crops I put down here, grains, vegetables, fruit. And number two is India. India produce a lot of rice, wheat, and sugarcane. Well, India is one of the largest sugar producer in the world. Then followed by number three, USA. They produce corn. When you process the corn into those yellow small little thing like then it become a maize. So they also produce soybeans. These two things they are mainly for animal feed, meaning to feed the animal so that we can slaughter the animal for their meat, for their protein. And soybean also for energy, biofuel, and all these things. So Brazil is also very big in soybean. So I won't go down the detail. You can see from my slide. From this slide, you can actually cut and paste. These are the top 10 fertilizer consumer in the world. So let's zoom down into those reserves. You see NPK, right? N come from air. Okay, come from the air. Now, how about P and K? P and K come from mineral. So I produced two slides here. The top 10 country with proven phosphate rock reserve. So you can see number one is Morocco. Why Morocco is number one? Remember that there was a war that linked to Morocco. They actually fought over a minority in the desert, and then they occupied that desert. And that desert produced very high quality phosphorus rock to process into a material. So Morocco actually is a 70% supplier in the whole world. Now followed by China, Egypt, and I list down the rest of the country here, so I won't go through in details because there are other things that I need to talk about later on in this video. So likewise for potash reserve, I also list down the top 10 country in the world. Surprisingly, you look at one of the poorest country in Southeast Asia, Laos. Laos is ranked number 2. Laos got a lot of potash. So Laos, if they develop these resources properly, Laos, there will be quite a very good potential for Laos. And for a lot of business company, you can also look at the Laos potash reserve, which are the second highest in the world. So these are the country that has all the raw material and the mineral to produce fertilizer. Now, if you look at who are the big company in this industry? So because my video is very much on business and finance, so I have to let you know who are the top player in the fertilizer industry. So again, I list down the top 10 using this slide. And now because the slide is printed, so I'm quite sure you do not have to be stressed out by my handwriting, which is very ugly in the past. So you can read from this slide. The largest fertilizer company is from Canada. So they have about, for the sales for the year 2025, they actually achieved a sale of about 27 billion for the year 2025. So the rest, you can look at it. The second largest will be in Norway. So followed by USA and China, we have one. So again, India and Israel. Of course, Israel, they are having wars now. Russia likewise. So all these are the key products that they produce. Again, I won't read out them. You can take a look at this slide and you know that who are the top 10 company in the world that produce fertilizer. Now, I have to mention to you that which are the food item in the world that human being consume or consumed by the animals use the most fertilizer. So at least then you look at your business decision. If you need to make any business decision or your career, general knowledge, you know that which are the agricultural product that require the most fertilizer. So I've listed down in this table the top 10. As you can see, maize or the corn use up the most fertilizer in the world. It make up about 18%. So wheat is second, then rice is number 3. So the rest I won't go through the same. In detail, you can go through this slide yourself so that you know which are the top 10 food item or plants that require or use up the most fertilizer globally. Now, how about if we link the types of plant and the country together, then we can see which country actually uses the most fertilizer. So you can see USA, they plant a lot of corn and maize. That's why recently, because of the tariff war, Donald Trump slapped the tariff and then people do counter tariff, retaliatory tariff, and then a lot of the farmer, the corn farmer in USA, they are suffering because the corn that they produce are much expensive now compared to those produced in Brazil. So in USA is a big consumer of fertilizer. Now in China and India is a wheat, because they need the flour to make into all the bakery product. So both these two nations use a lot of fertilizer for the wheat. And also for rice. Rice is important food item for many people, from Chinese people in the Southeast Asia or the Asia side. So China, India, and some Southeast Asia country like Thailand, all these use a lot of fertilizer because of the rice. Now this is the most important thing. Despite the fact that I'm going to skip the technicality of how fertilizer are being produced, you just need to remember one thing. Out of the NPK, the N is right now produced from natural gas. Why? Last time they used to mine from mineral, but after the blockage in Germany and the two chemists came out with the Haber-Bosch process, now human beings know how to build huge plant to actually get hydrogen from natural gas, and they get nitrogen from air. So this process requires a lot of energy. So it's energy intensive. But later on, they found out that it's even cheaper to get hydrogen from natural gas. So fertilizer price index fluctuation in the world is being called the solid gas index, meaning that the movement of fertilizer price is very close to the natural gas price. Because of this discovery, people find that if you take hydrogen from natural gas and you mix with nitrogen to become ammonia, that is the cheapest way. Of course, there are some new development using called the green ammonia, meaning that they don't take anything from the natural gas anymore. They take from water. But again, it will be a few times, 3 or 4 times more expensive than taking from natural gas. That's the reason why the current Iran war has increased the natural gas prices, which also increased the fertilizer price. And without natural gas, a lot of fertilizer plant in Europe, in the West, or even in Asia are not able to produce because it's not economical. Because the green ammonia method of producing fertilizer, taking hydrogen from water, is very expensive, and not many plants in the world can do that. So most of the fertilizer plants in the world are still depending on natural gas. That's the reason why the chart of the natural gas movement and the chart of the fertilizer price movement for nitrogen, they are almost the same. That's why nitrogen price is called the solid gas price chart. Now, if you look at this slide, there is a correlationship table. Now, the higher the natural gas, the higher will be the urea price. Urea price produced from hydrogen and nitrogen. So all these I won't go into detail. If you look at the latest one, because of the war, right now the euro price, which is produced from hydrogen from natural gas, is close to about $500 per ton. So it has increased from previously about $200 per ton. So it's more than double. That's the reason why all the food prices in the world are increasing right now, and a lot of companies are suffering. Cost of product is going up because of energy price, transportation cost is going up, and the fertilizer price is going up. So the food costs more to produce. Okay, so that's the reason why the whole world are being affected by the Iran war right now. So you look at this chart now, I actually put the two prices together. So on the left hand side, you can see the natural gas price, which is the blue color line, and on the right hand side is a urea price. Urea is a component to make ammonia. So you can see that's a red color. So you look at these two charts, they are almost the same pattern. That's the reason why the urea price or the fertilizer price chart is called the solid gas chart. It almost look the same. Now, let's come to the financial aspect of the fertilizer market. In this whole world, is there or are there any financial product being traded for fertilizer? The answer is yes. So again, I list down 5 of the top 10 financial market in the world, and all these are financial product for fertilizer. They are linked to the specific component of the fertilizer, like the NPK. They are future contract, they are swap contract. Again, I can't explain future and swap in detail because that will take another long videos. So again, you can see that the top 5, number 1 is the China, because China Zhengzhou commodity market actually is the largest in the world. per year is about 40 million lots. One lot is a contract, so it's about 20 ton. So again, the detail here, you can see that the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they have different kind of financial product for different kind of fertilizer. So likewise, Singapore is ranked number 3, surprisingly, right? Singapore, not many people know Singapore is the third most active stock exchanges in the world that allow fertilizer financial product to be traded. Of course, we have over the counter and all this. So again, to avoid you all falling asleep, I won't go into the detail here. You all can look at the slide and do cut and paste if you need some information from the slide. Okay, now let's come back to the current environment. So I've discussed about the war linked to the fertilizer to show you how important fertilizer has been to the human history. I also tell you who are the top producing country, who are the top country with the reserve, who are the one that consume the most fertilizer, which are the food item that control the most fertilizer. Now let's look at the sanction. Recently, Donald Trump has slapped a lot of sanction all over the world. Not in addition to sanction, they also have tariff. So again, let's look at the 3 countries that are most affected by the sanction. Of course, the sanction, look at the 3 countries is Russia, Iran, and Belarus. Okay, Belarus, Russia, and Iran. So you see, look at these 3. I won't go into detail. So these 3 countries produce a lot of fertilizer. Some of the component for fertilizers, they actually face a lot of sanction, and because of that, their export of fertilizer or ingredient for fertilizer has been very much affected. So what happened? So let's use Brazil as an example. With all this sanction, a lot of people cannot buy from these 3 countries. So if you look at Brazil buy a lot of fertilizer. So now the fertilizer from Belarus dropped from 18% to 8%. And the fertilizer that they buy from Russia dropped a little bit. But the one that dropped from Belarus is the most, so it's a significant drop. But to compensate for that, they had to buy more from other countries. So this is the impact of the sanction. I take Brazil as an example to show you that the sanction actually impact those countries that need some of these resources for their fertilizer manufacturing, and it also impact those countries that are exporting this type of ingredient for fertilizer. Now, so which are the 10 countries that are most affected by the USA tariff on this fertilizer? So again, I list down the top 10. I won't go through in detail again. China is affected because now you have to pay more in order to buy all this raw material for fertilizer. In this case, tariff is because of China want to export a lot of ready NPK product to USA. The USA also buy a lot of fertilizer from China, but because of the tariff, the country that sell the most to USA and also being slapped with the highest percentage in tariff will face the most being affected by the tariff. And that's the last slide. I want to give a complete picture. So of course, USA can do whatever they want to do to other countries, but other countries can also retaliate, can also impose some counter tariff. So which are the counter tariff that other countries is fighting back? You can see number 1, China is imposing tariff on USA soybean, EU, European Union, India, Japan. So like even Canada and Mexico. So these are the countries that also do counter retaliatory tariff to USA, so that to let USA know that you can bully us, we can also do some counter measure to make your export more expensive to our local consumer. So again, I hope today you enjoyed my video regarding the global fertilizer market, which I have my emphasis will be very much on the business and finance aspect. Of course, the start of this video, I actually talked quite a lot about the wars regarding caused by fertilizer, and that will give you all some interesting background. So now you know fertilizer actually caused wars in the human history. People died because of fertilizer. You also know the top producing country. You know the top country with all the reserve that need to produce fertilizer. You know the process because of the blockage in Germany make a big change in the fertilizer industry, and you know which are the food items that consume the most fertilizer in the world, and are there any financial product being traded for fertilizer, and I list down the top 5 financial exchanges in the world. And also I bring everybody to the current development about the sanction which impact the price of fertilizer, and or the capability for some certain country to export ingredient for fertilizer, and also the tariff that linked to fertilizer, and you can see all the top 10 country being affected, or they have launched countermeasure to stop all these bullying practices. So again, I hope you enjoy my video, and my video give you an overall view about the size of the fertilizer market globally, and also the basic knowledge regarding the complexity of this whole market. And I hope you can subscribe to my video, and also circulate my video to all your friends so that they can also benefit and subscribe to it. Okay, thank you very much. See you next video. Bye bye.